In this video, I show you 5 games to introduce new players to miniature wargaming. Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. So if this is your first time here, thanks very much for watching. Why not click the subscribe button so you don't miss an upload from me. So in my recent video about how does wargaming survive the next 5 years, it got me thinking about how do we bring new players, and especially younger players, into wargaming. Now I do want to ensure that we split the wargaming hobby, which is very much about the painting and the converting of miniatures, away from playing the actual war games. What I want to do in this video is introduce new players to play in the games, not necessarily new hobbyists into the wargaming hobby. So what I've come up with is 5 games that I think are perfect for introducing new players into wargaming. Now I've put some limitations around why I've chose these games. I didn't want anything to be too expensive, so I've kind of pitched it at if it costs less than a PlayStation 4 game, then I think it's a good entry point from a price perspective. And I've also thought about if it is overly sort of complicated from a hobby perspective. For example, if there are lots of small pieces to put together, then I've also limited that at this stage as well. However, feel free to let me know down in the comments if you think there's some that I've missed. Do you want to buy your very own BlackJack Legacy t-shirt? The link is down in the description. So, without further ado, let's go through them, starting with the most expensive to the least expensive. So, the most expensive in this list is Shadespire from Games Workshop, priced at £40, recommended retail price. Now, the reason I've included this is everything comes in that core set to get you started playing the game. The board's included, all of the tokens, the dice. The miniatures are absolutely fantastic sculpts, both of the Stormcast Eternals and the Blood Reavers. Now, they're very easy to put together. They do need to be clipped out from the sprue, but because they're push fit, they're ideal to put together with younger hobbyists or younger players. And it's certainly not enough to put off new players into playing the game. The rules are pretty simple, and once you've had a couple of turns, you can almost learn the game as you go. Should you get interested in this game, there's obviously the expansions of the extra war bands. Even in this core set, the card mechanic or the deck building aspect isn't necessarily a block, because it comes with 2 pre-formed preset decks that allow you just to unbox, build the miniatures and play the game. Then if you get sucked into it and you want to expand, then the world's your oyster. But it's certainly a gateway into gaming itself. The miniatures, as I mentioned, are fantastic sculpts, and if that's something that really interests you in getting into the hobby side of miniature gaming, then it could be a route into AOS and potentially Warhammer 40,000 as well. The other side of it is, should you really get interested in playing this a little bit more competitively at some point, there'll be no shortage of players available to play this game. So that's why this one comes in as the first on the list and the most expensive at £40. Second on the list is The Walking Dead All-Out War from Mantic Games, also priced £40. Now the reason why I say that this isn't the most expensive is this one tends to be more heavily discounted online, so you can certainly pick it up for less than that price. The core set has everything you need to get started. You open the box and inside you'll find single piece plastic miniatures, so there's no hobby aspect needed. You have the dice, the tokens, you have terrain, you have the mat to play the game on. Everything that you need to play the game is included. The rules are very simple, and I think most importantly what you can do with this is you can either play solo or you can play as a co-op game as well against the AI of the walkers. Then once you're a bit more confident with the rules, you can play 1 versus 1, and I think this is a really key point in trying to introduce somebody to a game. There's no point just having that first game and just basically handing it to them because they don't know the rules. You can play alongside them, and if they get interested, they can play alone at home too. So that's why I've put this as number 2 on my list. Number 3, and the third most expensive on the list, is X-Wing Miniatures from Fantasy Flight Games, priced at £37 recommended price. Now this game has been around for some time now, and there are actually 2 core sets that you can buy as an introductory set. One is the original core set with the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter in from the original Star Wars trilogies. The second set is the Force Awakens box set, which shows updated versions of the X-Wing and the TIE Fighters. From a hobby perspective, there's nothing at all to do here. Simply clip together the bases and everything's ready to go. Even better, the models are even painted. So from a thematic point of view, you really do get sucked in from the first game. Inside that core box again is all of the templates, the dice, any markers and any cards that you'll need as well. And should you decide that this is the game for you, there is a vast array of more ships to buy and a whole organised player should you get sucked into that. Now, obviously, the Star Wars name is enough really to draw people in, so if people are on the fence about playing miniature games or playing tabletop games, the Star Wars license can really help bridge that gap. It's also a game that seems to have brought in a lot of board gamers over into that miniature tabletop gaming as well, so that can't be a bad thing either. Again, from a younger player perspective, there's very little to learn in the way of the rules. It's very simple. You don't have to play with all of the upgrades, but as they become more familiar with the game and the movement tokens, then you can always introduce them at a later stage. The fourth game on the list, and priced at a very reasonable £18 recommended price, is Tanks by Gale Force 9. Now this game, again, as a core set, as a starter box, comes with 3 tanks, 2 Shermans and a Panther, I believe it is. It comes with some cardboard terrain, so it's sort of woods and buildings to move around. It comes with the dice, and it comes with movement template as well. Now this game works very similar to X-Wing in terms of using a template rather than a tape measure to move around your tanks. The roll into hit mechanic and the roll into defend mechanic is really straightforward. And another thing as well is the plastic tanks they're very easy to assemble, and should younger players get interested in this game and want to expand it, the tanks that you play with are priced at about £5 each, so it really is kind of hitting that pocket money range. I would say this is probably the most straightforward and simple game of everything on the list. And again, if it's something that you become interested in, the miniatures themselves are actually the same that are used in Gale Force 9's Flames of War. So this is another avenue that you can grow your miniature game into, should this game really pique your interest. The last one on this list, and the cheapest of them all, is Gaslands. This is written by Mike Hutchison, and the rules are available from Osprey Publishing. Now, this is strictly a little bit different because you're only buying the rule set. The miniatures that you use in this game are Hot Wheels cars, and those can easily be picked up at a local toy store or even a supermarket for around about £1 each. So it really is a very low price point entry into the game. Now the game does use movement templates and dice and tokens. However, these are all available to either photocopy and print out or to download from the Gaslands website. So initially, this really probably is the cheapest entry point of all of the games on here. What I would say, however, is there is a template and tokens and dice plus the rule set available, which costs around £44, which does make it actually the most expensive on this list. However, technically, you don't need all of that to play, and most of this is freely available. This game replicates the kind of Mad Max or the Death Race theme of using the miniature cars to race around. You can equip them with rockets and machine guns, and this allows you to attack each other as you're racing around a course. Because it's just Hot Wheels cars, this really does appeal to younger gamers as well. And from a hobby perspective, you don't have to paint the cars, they're already ready built, so there's nothing to do. However, I think it will be a perfect thing to sit on a Saturday afternoon with a young child and to just either paint them or even just to get some stickers and stick stickers onto the cars. Really get them interested in making those cars their own. And I think it's this aspect of a very entry-level hobby that allows this to be a very cheap investment from a starting point, but might be something that grows further down the line. So there we have it, folks. That's 5 games that might be just perfect from both a price point and a rule set point to really get new players, and especially younger players, into this hobby of ours. If you think I've missed anything, then why not drop it down in the comments? If you disagree with any of these games, let me know down in the comments why, and let's have a chat about it. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.